So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the SLP specific resources that we have in our digital assessment library for schools. And this webinar is for both SLPs who are new to the digital assessment library and clinicians who have been using it for a while. And so I'm going to try my best not to sound redundant, but to my more seasoned DALS clinicians, I want to make sure that you have a good understanding of what's included in your subscription, and hopefully you'll learn something today. As a clinician, I worked in a district that had the digital assessment library for schools. I really liked using Q Interactive, but I didn't know about a lot of the other features that are included in the digital assessment library account. And that I found out about once I started working at Pearson, and I was honestly kind of bummed about it. And I wanted to make sure that as many clinicians as I can reach know all about the resources and assessments that we have to offer within this library. So with that said, let's get started. So our digital assessment library for schools, or what we like to call it DALS, is simple. It's unlimited Q Interactive and Q Global for all of the clinicians in your district. So together, Q Global and Q Interactive make up about 40 assessments within our assessment catalog across multiple areas such as psychology, speech, OT, and special education. When your district subscribes to DALS, every clinician in your district has unlimited access to both Q Global and Q Interactive. And if you aren't added to either of these platforms, make sure to contact your district administrator to be added onto these accounts. It costs no extra money for them to add you if your district is already subscribed to DALS. All right, so first I'm going to talk about Q Interactive. Q Interactive is our one-to-one iPad-based testing system that helps administer, score, and report 20 different clinical assessments, including the SELF-5, SELF-P3, Goldman-Fristow, and the EVT-PPVT. This system is ideal for SLPs because with Q Interactive, you can create personalized batteries at both the instrument and subtest level that are proven to better serve your clients and evolve your practice, minimize the time spent that you spend on administering tests, and streamline your workflow and reduce manual data entry. This April, we have a completely new Q Interactive application being launched. It's going to be available for download exactly a week from today, I believe, on April 13th, and has several new improvements. In my first demonstration, I'm going to give you a preview of the new Q Interactive assessment app. So if you are familiar with Q Interactive, you might notice the application got a little facelift. So I'm going to show you a pre-recorded video of the demo. Don't be too surprised if this sounds a little different. I apologize, I recorded it last week. My voice was a little hoarse, so it might sound very different.
Goldman-Fristow and Conn-Lewis, along with the SELF-P3 following directions subtest on Q Interactive, our one-to-one iPad-based administration app. Right now, I'm on QI Central, which is our website for Q Interactive, where you can create clients and assign them the assessment in order to send the assessments to the iPad. So I'm on the main page right now, but I'm going to scroll up and go to clients. Here, I'm going to select my client that's already been made for me, Jim Halpert. And then I'm going to create an assessment for Jim. I'm going to choose the Goldman-Fristow. For his age group, I believe that he's 5 years old. And then I'm going to scroll back up and go to the third step. On step 3, you can designate the time and date that you anticipate giving the exam, and then press finish. And on this new page, you can send the assessment to the iPad. So the iPads are going to come up. The left is mine and the right is Jim's. So I'm going to get started with the Goldman-Fristow test of articulation. If you have not done Q Interactive before, I would recommend practicing this a couple of times because there's just a different cadence. But as you can see, I gave him the prompt, the picture is showing, and the cues are on the right-hand side. So I'm going to show the picture. He said PID for pig. So I'm going to select the G and replace it with the D, and then go to the next item. Show the picture again, and he said tup. So it looks like this little guy is fronting. So I'm going to make a note that he's fronting, and then assign the note to the entire test rather than just the item, because it looks like it is a consistent error that Jim's making. And I'm making a specific note for myself to run that Conn-Lewis analysis once this Goldman-Fristow is done. So I just keep going through the test. It looks like he omitted his ul at the end of apple, so I put the omission sign. And I'm going to spare you and skip to the very end of the test because I know you all know what the Goldman-Fristow looks like. I'm not going to go through every item. So now we're at the end of the test, and it's been totally scored just by finishing the test. You can see that there's a standard score and the raw score. So it looked like he scored within age normal limits for when compared to age-matched peers, but wee little Jim was having some difficulty with following directions in my room. I have some extra time with him, so I'm going to add the following directions subtest right here on the app. So I'm pulling up the following directions subtest. I'm going to show Jim the picture and give him the prompts. And as Jim is pushing the pictures on the iPad, it's automatically registering his responses for me without me having to record them myself. So we're just finishing up the trial, and it's going to skip to the start point according to Jim's age that you entered on the website previously. So here's item number 5, it skipped ahead. So say sometimes a child makes an error and they go, oh no, wait, it's this one. So you as the clinician have the ability to go in and change that response. So he clicked the monkey and then said, oh wait, no, you wanted the tiger. So then he selected both tigers. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that number 1 response to then correct what his responses were. And also if he didn't push the iPad hard enough, it's, maybe he didn't completely touch the iPad, you can go in and enter the responses based on how he was pointing. So I'm purposely going to get item 6 wrong. Because it automatically uses the reversal rule for you. Here's the familiarization prompts. And here's the trial for younger students. And now it's going back to item 1 to establish that basal because he didn't meet the basal criteria for his age. And then it'll jump ahead to item 7. I'm purposely going to get
Whoops, I'm sorry.
them wrong to spare you some time. And so we can reach a ceiling rather quickly. So the test discontinue rules have been met. You can look at the results right away. Here you can see the scaled score and the percentile rank. And now we're going to send the results back to the iPad. And now we're going to send the results to the computer by syncing the iPad on the top right corner. Now I'm going to go back to my clients, find Jim, see that he has that outstanding report under assessment history. And then I'm going to create the report. Here you can set the confidence interval, the dialect, and include the KLPA. So there's no extra work that you need to do for the KLPA other than just clicking that checkbox You can also choose whether you want it to be a Microsoft Word document or a PDF. I personally prefer Word because then I can go in, edit whatever I need to, and copy and paste the charts into my final report for an IEP. And here is the report. So if you scroll down, you can see the standard score along with the percentiles and age equivalents. There's a narrative, and it gives a speech sound error analysis. You can use what you would want to and put it into your regular report. You don't have to use all of these. And here's the Con Lewis. It maps out all of the phonological errors that he made with no additional work from you. And then here's the Self P3. So this took me about 12 minutes total as a clinician to administer all 3 of these tests. To get this report, to send it to my iPad, it really takes no time at all, and it really helps streamline assessments to really give you a good overview of the data. Goldman, Fristow, and Con
All right. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. This is a brief overview. There's a lot of content in there, and I know that I'm information loading, but we do have some fabulous training videos. So if you do not have those training videos for Q Interactive, I highly recommend watching them. If you're still learning more about it, you can reach out to your district administrator. They'll likely have those training videos. And if not, then reach out to your state representative and they can send you those videos. If you're a digital assessment library district, they're exclusive to our DALS customers. So I hope that you enjoyed that. And I'm also going to share some tests that we can give that might be a little less common, but that we as SLPs are qualified and capable of administering and are also accessible to us with the DALS subscription. So the first one is the Wechsler Individual Achievement Test, or the WIAT-4. It's an individually administered achievement test for ages 4 to 50. For use in a wide variety of clinical, educational, and research settings. It's typically administered by psychologists and special education professionals, but can be an excellent tool for SLPs in a school setting. And some of my favorite features include the essay composition subtest that can be auto-scored, and it measures correct versus minus incorrect word sequences, which are sensitive to conventions and morphosyntax. The new phonemic proficiency subtest follows best practices by measuring speed and accuracy on phoneme manipulation tasks. It compares timed and untimed word reading and pseudo word reading, which allows you to measure language skills and language processing speed. It has new orthographic processing subtests and composite show how well your students process written language. And it also has reading and writing fluency subtests and composites that help you see common academic writing tasks and an individual's integrated linguistic and cognitive performance under time pressure. And then another nice test to have in our library is the Bracket 4 Basic Concepts Test. It will be added to the new Q Interactive app when it is released on April 13th. So it's only going to be on our new app. It is not going to be featured on the current app that you guys are using. So you'll have to download the new app in order to access it. Basic concepts, as it's defined, are the most rudimentary words of language that are used to describe salient aspects of the environment, like rough, hot, blue, wet. And these are foundational for developing knowledge of topical concepts used within broad subject areas like desert, jungle, ocean, and then you build those into overarching concepts such as environments, systems, and processes. Basics concepts are how we understand the world around us, and as schools seek to expand knowledge especially through STEM, children lacking in basic concepts are at a significant disadvantage, as we all know as SLPs. The Bracken-4 is more commonly a psychology test, but can be an excellent resource for speech language pathologists to better understand the root cause of language difficulty in their students. And while basic concepts as defined here are not explicitly highlighted in IDEA eligibility criteria, our research shows basic concepts as measured by the Bracken specifically are a powerful predictor of language development, cognitive functioning, and school readiness. In fact, some of the research shows basic concepts are better at predicting reading and math performance than typical vocabulary tests. So it can be used with preschool and early elementary students. I think it goes from ages 3 to 7 years, 11 months. Okay, so the second part to your DAL subscription is Q Global. It's our web-based platform. Q Global allows you to access all of our digital stimulus books, manuals, and to administer assessments remotely. It can also score and report the assessments that you administer by paper pencil. It's a lot more common to use Q Global as a psychologist, mental health clinician, or occupational therapist because they tend to administer assessments that are self-administered or proctored, like the Basque or the Vineland, which are only available on Q Global and not Q Interactive. But I do want to show you some of the hidden features that you might not have noticed before on Q Global. And I certainly missed these features when I was working as a clinician in district. Also, if your clinicians don't have iPads to use Q Interactive just yet, this can be a fabulous alternative to streamline scoring and reporting for your assessments. I'm going to play 3 pre-recorded videos that show you how you can access your stimulus books and manuals on Q Global, demonstrate an on-screen assessment of the PPVT-5, and give you a preview of our Bridge to Vocabulary, which is accessible through your resource library on Q Global.
So one of my favorite features for Q Global is the fact that we have both our stimulus books and manuals available on Q Global. So I'm going to go right up here to our resource library and find the test that I want to administer. So the SELF P3. In the case that you have a kid that doesn't do great with an iPad, you can instead pull up a stimulus book on your computer that they can point to, just like a print stimulus book. I'm going to pull that up right here in my resource library. And here you can just scroll through as if you were flipping a stimulus book. The other feature that I really like is that we have all of our digital manuals available. It's nice to be able to just find and search a subtest, click on the subtest that you want to look at, and read about it in the manual. So one of my favorite features.
Okay, and here is the next video.
Another feature our clinicians like is our remote on-screen administration for the PPVT-5. We have the ability to either pull up the PPVT-5 through Q Global while the child is with us, or email a link to the student's parent to pull up and screen share during a telepractice evaluation. There are specific guidelines outlined by Pearson in our telepractice page that review over the specific environment that the child should be in when the test is administered. Basically, the PPVT-5 is administered and scored fully by the computer, while the clinician can just kind of sit back, watch, and observe how the child responds. It automatically calculates basal and ceiling for the clinician, which reduces the mental load on us and reduces errors when administrating the assessment. So here I've created a client named Leslie Nope. I'm going to assign her the PPVT-5. Here I have the option to enter in the score from her paper form, to do the in-person online assessment, or to send the link via email. this would be the link that's sent to the parent. For the sake of today, I'm going to select in-person online. I'm going to scroll down and select myself as the examiner. And I also need to select the language that's spoken most often. Then I'm going to create the assessment. So I know I can't do this. However, they're just giving specific instructions for how to administer the assessment. So I'm going to scroll through this very quickly. So it told me to click on laughing. Here are the training items. It said click on sleeping. I'm going to click on sleeping. Do you notice that it skipped forward to the start for my client's age? It said click on eating. I'm going to click this one. It said click on pencil, but instead of clicking on the pencil, I'm going to click on the screwdriver, and notice that it scales back to number 11 to help create my basal. So I'm going to get this one correct. It says click on drinking, so I'm going to click on the drinking, and now you'll see my basal is calculated. I'm now at number 14. It skipped forward. I'm also going to repeat because I don't remember what it said. It said click on mouth. I'm going to purposely reach my ceiling quickly for the sake of this demo. It said click on flower. It said click on cookie. Click on sitting. Click on carrot. And now it shows that my assessment is complete. I may close the window. So I'm going to go ahead and close the window and sign back into my Dolls account. I'm going to find Leslie Nope, who's now been moved to the top. Click on her name and see here that the PPVT5 form is now ready to report. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to proceed to reports. I'm going to select the PPVT report. And here are a bunch of report options and report file type. So that for the report file type, I like to select Word. So that way I can add any anecdotal information or any observations that I saw during the test about the student into this report. Here are customizable report options. You can include home recommendations. It'll show you the 3 tiers of vocabulary with no additional work required from you. You can also set your confidence interval here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and create the report. It's downloading right now. And here's my report. So I can just highlight and put this into an IEP report that I've written for a student and combine it with other assessments. But here you can see it has all of the standard scores and percentage, or the percentiles. There's a narrative summary that's included along with the qualitative analysis. And then at the end, it includes suggested interventions. And that is how you use the PPVT5 on Q Global.
So the
Another feature our
PPBT
clinicians
5 on Q Global is just another way that you can administer the assessment. You could also do it on Q Interactive. So however you prefer, just two separate ways to administer the test through your DALS account.
The Bridge of Vocabulary Second Edition is also included for free in your Q Global library through your Digital Assessment Library for Schools account. The Bridge of Vocabulary 2 is a digital vocabulary program that offers evidence-based activities designed for both general and special education professionals. So here I'm going to go to my resource library. I'm going to select the Bridge of Vocabulary 2 folder and find the restricted section. There are 5 intervention options tailored to different age and skill levels, and the program includes over 125 activities. Here I'm going to select the upper elementary activities. Each activity provides explicit teaching instructions, a clear goal statement, and links to scientific evidence. Academic standards are also included to help align vocabulary intervention with curricular outcomes. The program employs research-based strategies that include systemic planning of explicit word encounters, encouraging fast mapping, and providing extended exposure to vocabulary. It also demonstrates phonotactic probability and neighborhood density. Additionally, the program incorporates student-friendly definitions that use spoken vocabulary words instead of reading vocabulary words. The Bridge of Vocabulary also employs a list of top 10 strategies that have been shown to be essential in teaching vocabulary skills to both general and special education students. The program is easy to use and can provide targeted instruction and intervention for all students in a classroom setting, including those with language and learning disabilities and complex communication disabilities. The Bridge of Vocabulary 2 can also be used in collaboration with other disciplines to support vocabulary development, which is essential to success in listening, speaking, reading, and writing.
So the Bridge of Vocabulary was one of those features of DALS I really didn't know about, and I am disappointed I didn't know about that because it's almost a year of session outlines. So hopefully you find that really useful, and I really encourage you to go and dig through it. And now that we have a little bit of extra time, I wanted to showcase some of the additional resources that we have that are available for your practice to help you understand and use the assessments included within your DALS library to help you make solid clinical decisions for your students for optimal outcomes. The next video I'm going to play is about our dyslexia toolkit, which is on Pearson's website.
There have been many times as a clinician where I have a lot of tools, but no idea where to start or what I need to do next when I'm not feeling confident. Our clinicians within Pearson have recognized that we offer tons of assessments to help support your clinical practice and are working to partner with our school districts to address the clinicians' needs for suggestions on how to use these assessments towards a comprehensive evaluation and accurate diagnosis. Our clinical team has started to address this with dyslexia because it can be so tricky to diagnose and requires so many specific moving parts from various people. Pearson Clinical released a free dyslexia toolkit that includes clinical and classroom resources for screening, diagnostic evaluations, intervention, and progress monitoring. Included are tools that can be used across a wide range of professional groups and user qualification levels. We update our website periodically as new tools become available. And we're currently working on developing similar toolkits for ADHD and autism, so be on the lookout for them. And as I said before, this is a free resource for everyone, DALS users or not, but it's excellent for DALS users because it can really show you what you already have in your DALS library and how to use it. So I am going to go to our Pearson Assessments main page. So this is pearsonassessments.com. I'm going up to Learning and Training. And under the featured topics, you can find dyslexia. And here you can find our dyslexia main page. If I scroll down, I can find an early detection page. So on this page, we include a form about screening for dyslexia to help you adequately advocate for your students. So you can use it how you'd like, distribute it, or use the language in it for your next meeting with a teacher or guardian. And we know these conversations are crucial, but they can be tough to have, and we want to provide you with the support that you need to have them. So I'm going to exit out of here and go back up to the top of the page. And here you can find resources for dyslexia on the top left corner. So here we give a definition of dyslexia. And if you scroll down, you can find our resources. Here under videos, it'll take you to our YouTube page where we put all of our dyslexia related content. A lot of this content includes 1 to 2 hour long webinars from test authors and specialists within the dyslexia field. These are really, really nice, meaty resources that can be really helpful for clinicians. If you go over here to resources from Pearson, here is the white paper that we published. We update it regularly, and here you can find that it was last updated in fall of 2022. If you scroll down, you can find the definition of dyslexia, and then you can also find our dyslexia toolkit. We like to lay it out in the MTSS pattern, the screen, assess, intervene, and monitor. And here are all the related Pearson published resources that we offer within this continuum. My favorite part, if you scroll down to page 11, you can find, there it is, you can find the content coverage of academic achievement assessments. So here you can find the key area for dyslexia assessment and find all of the tests that we offer for dyslexia and see how the subtests within each test align with the key areas that you need in order to diagnose dyslexia. I am not going to delve too far into this document. It's quite long, but we do have an upcoming webinar on dyslexia where I'm sure they'll talk more about this toolkit that we have. So if you want to scroll up and go to the product toolkit, again, you can find all of our products against the across the screen, assess, intervene, and monitor continuum. And you can also find links to the ordering page of all of these assessments. And then here you can find the role in the dyslexia roadmap. So here is a list of all the clinicians that would be responsible for diagnosis of assessing dyslexia. And you can maximize each clinician and look at the tests that they can give and the interventions that they can use. So this really helped me understand my role in intervention and assessment of dyslexia, and also helped me better understand how others might look at dyslexia or the key roles that they also play. So I hope that this is helpful. And again, if you're interested, we do have another upcoming webinar for dyslexia where they will start to talk more about these tools in more depth.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that overview. I would certainly encourage.
There have been many times as a clinician.
I would certainly encourage for you to go and just check out that website around yourself and go kind of dig around, see what's there. I found it to be very, very useful as a clinician. I'm also really super excited to share, I think for the first time, that we this coming year are going to be offering a 20% discount on pre-recorded training modules that we have within our digital assessment library for schools library. So some that might be useful for your team might include, you know, the big pictures on my training gallery, the Wyatt or the Bailey-4, which is an early childhood test with more manipulatives than the PLS-5. So training is very useful for it. And like I said before, the Wyatt training is available for a discount as well. This is an achievement test that covers a ton of language, so it's a great tool for you to have in your back pocket, especially if you don't have a psychologist or other clinician administering the test within your district. The smaller pictures are trainings that are more geared towards your colleagues, so definitely pass this information along to them as well. And thank you so much for your time today. I've left a QR code because my last resource for you is our network of assessment consultants. We have an array of clinicians across a variety of fields, all working to make sure that your questions are answered, your orders come in, and that you're optimizing your tools effectively. Shoot them an email or give them a call with clinical questions or questions about our updated products, and we'll be happy to help. So thank you so much for coming today. It was wonderful presenting this to you all. Thanks.